Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm just doing a quick double check. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Brilliant.
Twitter is not rugging us yet.
Nice. So we'll just get started then, guys. Just for everyone's insight, this session is being recorded, if you couldn't already tell. But I just wanted to have a great discussion today around building games in Web3, what Web3 gaming is, and essentially how all of our brilliant guests here that is a part of the Symbiote ecosystem is contributing to that. So to get us started, what we'll do is we'll do a quick intro round of all of our guests. And then from there, we'll go into some topics around Web3 gaming, Infinity Heroes, one of our companies joining us today, as well as Ready Games and Cap Games as well, Ready GG. So we'll get into it. We'll go around with some intros. Why don't we get started with Infinity Games?
Hi SJ, hi to all, hi to Symbiote. Thank you for inviting us. It's a very pleasure to be. I think it is your first space. Very honored. So I'm Ante Medic. I'm co-founder of Infinity Games, a Web3 gaming interoperability ecosystem. We have developed a protocol that allows the interoperability of in-game assets or NFTs on the blockchain layer, and we are developing a platform to enable the interoperability of the games on the application level. Our end goal is to create an ecosystem where gaming studios collaborate, share games asset and user bases, and allow users to use the same gaming assets and characters across different games in the ecosystem to experience a truly immersive metaverse. We are focused on incubating gaming studios that can deliver quality blockchain games, and for the past 2 years, we have been developing a flagship game for the whole ecosystem called Infinity Heroes. It is a 3D card collection auto battler or auto chess, fully built in our studio. The game is in the open beta and it is live on Immutable zCase and Polygon. And we have plans to add other chains, but I cannot disclose it right now since we are in the deal, which is finalizing. Hopefully, the next week we will have that big announcement. The community has responded greatly recently. So far for the open beta, we have just released a new update with the first official leaderboard season and more daily login gold. We are planning new gameplay mechanics for the next update. Updates are once every 2 weeks. So everybody hit our website and try out the game.
Nice, great intro, Ante. I'm really looking forward to hearing how Infinity Games can contribute to the wider discourse around gaming as a whole. And I think we've got some great experience on the panel alongside us as well, who can really contribute to that discussion. So Christina from Ready GG is also joining us today. Christina, if you wanted to give a quick intro.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Christina. I'm one of the co-founders of Ready GG. We like to say that we're reinventing play. And the reason for that is we've essentially built a full turnkey game development platform and layer 3. The idea is that, most of the team come from a super diverse gaming background, and we wanted to really put together really a full, again, turnkey tech stack with absolutely everything developers, studios, publishers need to build their gaming projects on chain. And we wanted to really build our tech stack to be completely cross-chain and to be chain agnostic. Once again, to bring developers wherever they want to go. The idea is that we often talk about making it super seamless for players, which is very much what we do as well. But I think before that, we need people to build the content and the games and all this amazing gaming material. And so we need to make it super seamless for developers to build so that they're coming in, they're building content, they're not worrying about tech, they're not worrying about smart contracts, they're not worrying how to, get analytics or doing user acquisition. They're just concentrating on making really awesome games for any players, for, on any platform, and just concentrating on making like super, super fun games that people want to play and different genres as well. Like we are definitely powering some really big titles, AAA titles, all the way down to super amazing, hyper casual mobile games. And that's really what's about, is just creating this super inclusive gaming ecosystem. And that to me is really what ReadyGG is.
Great. And you touched on some topics that I think we're really going to get into today in regards of the developer side of things. So hold on to those thoughts there. Whilst we move over to our final, but definitely not least important, Saratobi from Cap Games. Saratobi, if you're speaking from the Cap Games account or your own, both have speaker rights. Please feel free to give us a quick intro.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me on. Definitely happy to be here. Been in space for quite some time myself, and have seen a lot of changes in the Web3 gaming space, and it's really exciting to watch the space evolve and grow. Around Cap Games, we are a publishing and distribution platform. We currently list over 150 Web3 games, and we also build out our own games as well, with our kind of main game at the moment being Captain and Company, which is as far as I'm aware, is the biggest game on the Blast network. And exciting, obviously, being the TGE of the Blast token. Will be exciting to see how that plays out. So yeah, that's kind of what we do. We also work very closely with many people in the space, including Ready Games, who we're huge fans of. Super excited to see how they can make it way easier to onboard devs from the Web2 space into the Web3 space. So we kind of leverage our kind of vast network of contacts to help other Web3 projects become as successful as possible. So that's kind of some of what we do. And then, just around myself as well, I also kind of still run a Web3 gaming guild, as well as a few other bits and pieces on the side as well.
Well, if our guests or anyone who's listening to our spaces today wasn't excited enough to upskill on gaming, I hope those intros gave you a taste of some of the experts that we have on board. And I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to discuss this is because gaming as a whole is not just a topic that many people pay attention to in crypto, right? Like, gaming has been around ideally probably before blockchain. So it's what I'd like to get us started off would be, how has gaming impacted you guys individually, and how has that led to your mission when it comes to building games, right? Because I think it's important for everyone to know the people building games are not always gamers, but sometimes they do have an interest in gaming. So do we have any gamers on our panel?
I mean, I can jump in. I'm definitely a gamer. 100%.
Likewise, they always say that, a lot of what you do, professionally and in your life, just comes down, from your childhood. And I was the oldest of three, and I had two younger brothers. And the way that I connected with them is literally playing Xbox and playing Nintendo 64. Like, Donkey Kong was our game. So for me, games has always been a way to connect people and to create community. And really, I think the basis and root of how I architected ReadyGG is really from that. It's like creating connection in the Web3 space, which truly allows it. And I think community is just expanded because of blockchain technology and interconnectivity and decentralization. So definitely, I think that's been an impact for me.
I'm also an OG gamer. I remember Sega Genesis from the early 90s. And actually, I know we will talk a little bit about that later, but I'm actually very glad that we have just recently signed with Symbiote, which is giving me an opportunity to work more on our game, because I miss that. I don't have a time anymore as previously when the game has started. Now I'm just happy to have time to jump right back to the game design and building the game.
So it sounds like we have a bunch of gamers on hand. So you guys will definitely be able to help answer one of my first questions. And I think everyone has like a distinct memory of the first games they played, how they got into gaming, or even more importantly, the memories that gaming can create. And I think that's something that is really important when it comes to Web3 gaming, especially considering that Web2 gaming is so advanced with game engines, with game guilds, game technologies, that we really have to speed up. And I think that can come with challenges when you've got an industry that's already established, already very close to people's hearts, as we heard from Christina, including things like family, etc. Gaming can be quite personal. So that would be quite difficult when we're building that in Web3. So I'd like to know from, and perhaps we can get started with Saritobi here. What do you think the hardest challenge is when it comes to building a Web3 game?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The hardest challenges when it comes to building a Web3 game, I suppose, to be honest with you, it's about how to balance, financial incentive with kind of an enjoyable game. I think Web3 games are still kind of finding their feet around like what, how to structure themselves. Do they? It's this kind of to earn or not to earn question, and it's a tricky one, because one of the biggest draws around Web3 gaming is the ability to monetize gaming experiences, and I suppose one of the biggest risks is the fact that it monetizes gaming experiences. So, it's certainly a challenging kind of conundrum that a lot of games struggle with. I think it really boils down to issues around psychology as well, and I think it's going to take a very long time for us to exactly see how this all plays out, because when a game starts to be about the earning, some people psychologically completely change the context with which they think around it, and this is something that I'd love to really kind of dive more deeply into, kind of what this would look like. You see a lot of people who historically would have put lorry loads of capital into kind of free to play mobile games, and I'd love to do an experiment where if you were to suddenly start giving those users rewards back, I kind of wonder how they would react to that. And sometimes I'm not always sure that it would be positive reaction, because I think some people psychologically just want to just give away all their money in a strange way psychologically. As soon as it starts to become like, oh, you mean I get something back? This is something that could potentially be an investment. It psychologically changes, how they interact with that game. Some people just seem to be happier when they're, giving their own money away for free, as opposed to earning. And as soon as the kind of earning component comes in, it kind of becomes work and is no longer an opportunity for them to just like relax in the same way psychologically. So I think that's going to be probably one of the biggest challenges of Web3 games, as far as I'm concerned.
I can only agree with Satorobi, and I can add some things on his thoughts. Regarding tokenomics, I think it's difficult in every game to build an optimal economics in the game. But in Web3, we have a tool that Web2 games doesn't have. We have a permissionless marketplace. By the theory that they should balance the gaming economics should balance itself, because we have all these new tools in Web3 which Web2 doesn't have. Also, I would like to add the common problems probably everyone is talking about them in Web3 building, the onboarding of Web2 users. The learning curve is pretty steep. So we have all those difficulties, but it is common with the new technology. With gaming, I think we are still early. With blockchain technology, I don't think we are early, but with gaming, we are still, with Web3 gaming, we are pretty early. But I would like to say also one story. When we started working on Infinity Heroes, I remember a couple of devs didn't have experience in Web3, and they were hardcore gamers, young guys. And I remember questions, why are we building Web3 game? At that time, if you remember, guys, everybody was bashing Web3 games because all of that NFT craze, what we've been through. So Web3 games have some prefix like they are all scams. So even with your inside the developers, it was how to say, not difficult, but it was a challenge to properly educate them and to see opportunities. And I'm so glad to see them now with all big hype around our games, and when they see gamers who played 800 games over 1 weekend. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely can jump in as well. I think just to build on what Saratobi was saying, just around there's certain players who get satisfaction literally by spending. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely true. That's literally what we call in gaming like a whale, and that's your goal, is to find the whales that are so insanely connected to your IP or connected to the game community that they just want, everything that's being given in the game. I think the difference here is that, and this is one of the difficulties for sure, but at the same time, a positive is that these whales now, when they do spend and they're happy spending, well, what they buy, they're going to own. And I think what the difficulty is, or now like the added challenge for developers, is really to now be like, okay, so these people own it. So there's not an end to their spend. It actually continues on. And what can I do with that? Okay, can I combine different items that they own, badges, leveling up, whatever it is, and create another game opportunity for them? Can I extend that level because they have this combination of a collection? I think that the challenge is much more of a game design one because there is no end to the spend. So that's something that we're seeing our developers and our clients really start thinking about. So it's a challenge, but it's a really interesting one because I think that's literally how we're going to innovate the Web3 gaming space. So something to really think about that, again, not only finding your whale is going to help you monetize, but it's probably going to help you really push your game forward. And if you do sort of build additional games, it's going to help you retarget them really efficiently, but you're going to have to do it really good. So something to think about.
Yeah, and I think all the alpha there from all three of our guests is something to take on board, especially for me. What stood out to me most was about how everyone speaks about how misconceptions can impact industries, right? And I think gaming in Web3 is one of those industries that many misconceptions have impacted the success of Web3 games, right? And I think in the past we've seen many people think that Web3 games are directly about earning or directly about the incentives that you can earn, which has led to instances where even game developers have subsidized the quality of their game in return for the earning mechanics. And I think as organic gamers, you guys can all agree that that's necessarily not the approach that would appeal to that Web2 gaming audience. So I think Infinity Heroes and Infinity Games could definitely jump in here and just give us some context as to how does Infinity Heroes as a game promote that in-game asset ownership that Christina was referencing, whilst still maintaining the concept of building a game that is still inorganically fun to play.
Yeah, there are so many concepts around in-game ownership and asset ownership, which we can talk about. In example, one aspect of it is that players are more connected with the asset that you own. So in the Web2 games, they doesn't have that feeling. They are not able to grow that connection with the in-game assets. Regarding your question, we actually also are developing very near the launch of our marketplace, which will be a native marketplace of the whole Infinity in Games ecosystem. But to to be perfectly honest with you, while creating a game design for our game, while choosing the type of the game, of course, when I started working on it, I create a game design based on the games I was playing at that time. But always in my mind was how to utilize the blockchain aspect on the maximum. So what we are trying to do here is to have all assets to be tokenized. To be tokenized, and like I can also reference on my first what I spoke earlier. I think it will be on the community to decide on the prices of the in-game assets and how much they will value them. I have to also say something about our marketplace here. We have some innovation in planning, in development. I didn't see, maybe OpenSea have something similar about NFT trading. Here we have lots of
Yeah, so I think we had a drop off there, if I'm not mistaken. So Ante, when you do join back in, I would love to rekindle that discussion. Um, but perhaps we can get some more insight there from one of our other speakers as to, like, with what you guys are building, how do you guys promote that in-game asset ownership and whilst maintaining the true essence of building an actual game at the end of the day?
Sorry. Can you reframe that? Say that question again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was more around, like, when it comes to in-game asset ownership, right? I think everyone views it differently. As we heard Infinity Games there, that was one of the things that they really thought about, how they utilize the blockchain technology whilst building the game, right? So I'd just like to hear from the rest of our guests just more about how you guys have viewed in-game asset ownership and how you guys utilize that to really give your game that full Web3 feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously having multiple different types of assets adds to a game really having a Web3 feel. I think supporting other projects as well, like supporting other projects' assets, gives a game a real Web3 feel. Like, you know, Pixels is obviously probably one of the most played games at the moment, and I suppose one thing that really gives it a Web3 feel is the fact that you can basically, you know, use a large number of characters and PFP projects and, you know, assets from other games in the game itself. You know, I think that's interoperability is certainly like a Web3 native concept, and something that I think I'm really excited to see more and more games use, and how that evolves over time.
Sorry guys, I had some issues with my connection here. I don't know what have you heard, and when I was cut.
Yeah, you were just giving some insight as to the marketplace you guys are building, and how that's going and what sort of the next steps are.
Yeah, that is actually important thing. So on our marketplace, Prometheus, we are building a functionality that allows players to trade NFTs. It's perfect implementation of the blockchain technology and card collection games. So basically, user can say, I have a human hero, I want to trade it for the elf hero. It's also one of the aspects how we want to connect connect people more to the in-game assets. But what Sarutobi said, it's great. It's a great example of how can we utilize. It's exactly what we are doing in the Infinity games. So basically, if we have a game in our ecosystem, it is compatible with another game. You are the owner of one asset from one collection, NFT collection, and the other game. You connect your wallet in the other game. That other game have a logic that when it reads that you are owner of asset from one collection, it can mint you the same asset from the same collection. That is interoperability of the gaming characters, but it can also give you different kinds of the perk for that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and add also another perspective on our side. So one of the gaming projects we're actually powering is the OWN Festival that's happening July 5th to 7th. So OWN is an esports and gaming festival. It's actually the X DreamHack Festival, if anybody really knows that franchise. But essentially, just to give a different perspective just about Web3 gamification, because I think that is equally important. And what Web3 gamification literally means is because of the concept of ownership, literally, whenever you essentially take part of a challenge, of a quest, whenever there's a reward, like campaign happening, it doesn't matter if it's in a game, it doesn't matter if it's in a gaming project, it doesn't matter if it's on something gamified. It means that when you accomplish it, whatever you're doing to essentially attain whatever that prize is or that benefit, well, you're going to own it. And what's really important from that is various things. One, you own whatever that benefit is, so you can use it and you can literally use it wherever it's available. You can sell that benefit if you don't really care about it at any other point. You can actually rent it out. You can loan it out. The difference is, renting, you can actually charge for it. Loan it, you can pass it on to a friend. So the idea here is that all of these different digital items that you now own because of Web3 technology really empowers you as a player, as a consumer, as a festival goer in this case. So with the OWN Festival, there'll be various different challenges happening in the festival, which is obviously a physical place. But everything that you're essentially accomplishing in different various quests that the festival is launching, well, you'll be getting those benefits, but they'll actually be on chain. So it's really interesting to see how these two words are actually colliding together and how the validity of what you're being rewarded and the validity of you owning it brings it that much more importance because of what you can do with whatever that benefit is in the end. So I think just going back to even what essentially Infinity Games was talking about the marketplace and so on, I think the power of the marketplace is we need spaces like the marketplace because people own items that they can really disperse as they want. And that's sort of like, I think, a really interesting thing that's just starting to brew.
I feel like you guys must have seen the way the discussion brief, because everyone is leading to the next topic that I want to get into, where it's really once we have those in-game assets. And I think one of the main things that I differentiate Web3 gaming with Web2 gaming is that ability to own those assets. But I think it's very important to question, is this asset ownership a trend? Is this asset ownership a need from gamers? Or what is this asset ownership essentially leading to that Web3 gaming has as a USP over Web2 gaming, right? And I think that's all around capturing that value. So I'd love to hear just some ideas. And again, guys, please feel free to chime in whenever. Um, I'd love to know, how do we capture that Web2 gaming value? Because there's no denying, right? Web2 gaming is dominant. It's been around for years. It's been around way longer than Web3 gaming has. And it sets the benchmark for how we need to operate as a gaming industry, or it even gives us a blueprint of areas where we need to improve on. So you guys being the gaming experts, I'd love to know, how do you guys think we capture that Web2 gaming value, whether it may be user value, whether it may be direct game value, monetary value? Over to you guys.
I think it is not a trend, definitely. It is an evolution. The reason why we are not seeing so many, not say AAA, but even that companies jumping. We have Ubisoft, I think, but it doesn't went very well. It was in the bad time, I think. But why we don't see more? Why we don't see Fortnite in the Web3 with digital ownership? Because they will lose money. Simple as that. They will lose money. This is evolution for the player. This is better for developers. We can also sell our assets to the max if we definitely, and we can practically print money from nothing like those games are doing. But we have an opportunity to create stuff, to create things on the better way. And big companies, big Web2 companies doesn't have an issue, are not incentivized to do so. In my opinion, in the next couple of years, not maybe in this cycle, but in the following one, are of the onboarding and for the mass adoption. I think we will see games with 1 million users, and I definitely think we will see jumping in the Web3 space.
Yeah, Ante. And I think with what Infinity Games is doing, especially, it's about positioning ourselves to really capture that. So I'd love to hear, just before we sort of round up and come to the end of this discussion, since we with the rest of our guests, I'd love to hear from the Infinity Heroes and the Infinity Game side. What upcoming things you guys have in the pipeline? What sort of things people can keep attention for? How you guys are sort of planning to capture that Web2 gaming value, as you said there, and just giving our team and our audience listening today just a great summary of where they can find you guys. And we'll go around and do the rest of the panel.
Thanks, AJ. We are having, as I previously said, we are having update to so currently we are in the phase we want to
I can jump in the meantime, just while we wait for Ante to come back. So just some, what we're working on at ReadyGG. Like I was saying, we're obviously powering this, really interesting festival happening in Valencia on July 5th to 7th. If anybody is in the area, please come and join. I think it's really gonna be fantastic, kind of seeing these two worlds colliding together for this, amazing love of gaming. We're working on a ton of other big games, powering rather really big games, very big studios. These are studios that hit, hundreds of millions of active users per month on some really important Web2 IP that they're planning on bringing to Web3. So, keep an ear out. We'll definitely be having quite a few announcements. And also we'll be having our first public sale on CoinList on July 3rd as well, which is just exciting for our project as a whole.
Yeah, and I think there's some great bits there from Christina that I think everyone can take on board, almost as learnings as to how to operate in the gaming industry. And that coin list announcement, for those who haven't seen it, please do check out Christina's page and the Ready GG guys. They're doing some brilliant work on that front. And CoinList is a great announcement that they've recently come out with. So yeah, please do check that out. Ante, now that you're back, please continue. We were just lost you when you was talking about the pipeline for Infinity Heroes in the next few weeks. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm from Croatia. I'm currently in Croatia on the coast of the Adriatic Sea. We have millions of tourists and we have zero infrastructure. I have several internet options and neither one is working. So sorry guys about that. I will try to be short and not try to repeat too much. We have an update every 2 weeks. Our main focus is currently on the gameplay and the technical stuff because we have lots of players wanting to try our game. So the focus is on the gameplay currently. It's all about to having a good and fun game. This is why we started to creating the games. And please guys, go visit our Twitter, follow us, and go to our Discord. Try out our game. We have constantly giveaways on the Twitter. In the game, we have leaderboards. We are planning to have tournaments, so it's going to be fun.
Definitely, Infinity Games is one to watch, guys. If not already in the loop, please do check out their socials, check out what they're building. Some exciting stuff will be coming, a lot more on the collaborative front from Symbiote and Infinity Games, and specifically Infinity Heroes over the next coming weeks and months. So do keep your eye peeled on that. And last but definitely not least, Saratobi, please do give us some insight. What cool things have Cap Games got coming up? What sort of things can we expect, and where can people find you?
Yeah, hi. So on our side, definitely make sure to jump onto cap.gg, set up an account, play some of the amazing games that we have listed. Make sure to check out Captain and Company. Give us a follow on Twitter. Obviously, that's always appreciated. We try and post as many updates on there as possible. We've got some really awesome updates in the pipeline coming very, very soon. And in terms of massive UI updates, new token utility, we've got an awesome marketplace in the pipeline really soon. So loads of really exciting updates coming on the Cap Game side. So definitely give us a follow on Twitter. Obviously, any follows you can give myself as well. Always really appreciated. And yeah, excited to jump on the next one with you guys. And thanks for having us again here.
Brilliant. And just an overall thank you one more time to all of our guests, Christina from Ready DG, Ante from Infinity Games, and Saratobi from Cap Games, joining us to discuss building in Web3. Over the next couple of days, for those who couldn't join us today, we'll be transcripting the spaces, turning it into some digestible bites, which will be floating around our ecosystem and our channels. So do make sure you're following all of us on socials so that you can keep a footprint on tabs on what we're doing, what we're building, and the progress that our wonderful partners and our portfolio companies are making over the next couple of weeks. So I hope you guys found this an insightful industry bite into Web3 gaming. Over the next coming weeks from Symbiote, you're going to see a lot more different sessions from us on multiple different topics. So we're advising guys to join us. You might hear from more of our partners that you heard from today. Our wide ecosystem is always up for discussions and up for debates on what narratives to be talking about, what spaces to be sort of discussing. So a massive thank you to all of our guests today, one more time from the Symbiote family. And I'm looking forward to having the rest of you join us in other sessions. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. And please do check out all of our wonderful guests who joined us today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye to everyone.